Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that, but don't fret. We've got you covered. This is CinemAddicts.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's a new week of CinemAddicts. This is CinemAddicts episode 345. We are covering movies coming out the week of Friday, May 22nd. The movies that are being covered include Ask E. Jean, Saccharine, Sick Puppy, and Reckless. Do I sound like my mic is horrible? Eric, how do I sound right now?
You always sound great.
Thank you.
Buttery, smooth voice.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I have a buttery, smooth voice. I like that. Hey, you have a smooth voice as well. Don't you think?
Hey, how you doing?
I love it. You got a little Donnie Brasco on me, and you're not a Fugazi. Eric Holmes, you're that Fugazi reference from Donnie Brasco. Did you know way back in the day, I broke up with a girl I was seeing over in Culver City. We went to the Sony studio lot. We saw Donnie Brasco, and I was so moved by that movie. Did you like that movie, or did you not like Donnie Brasco? Johnny Depp?
I haven't seen it in
in years, right?
I think I saw it when it came out on like VHS. That's how long it's been.
Right, back in the day. Anne Heche, Michael Madsen. You don't remember too much about the movie, but I remember because I was living in Culver City that time. I know this is way too TMI, folks. I know for CinemAddicts. We're gonna get to our indie coverage in a second. I decided to break up with her after the screening. I didn't break up with her at the time, but this is me being stupid. In my late 20s, I asked her what she felt about Donnie Brasco. She was just like, yeah, it's all right. And I just took a little bit of, I did not show, but I took offense to that and I saved it for later. And I think that was one of the reasons why I broke up with her, TMI, because, and it's a stupid way. Why would you break up? You would never break up over someone if they have a bad movie opinion, right, Eric Holmes? That's just irrational. No. Okay.
No, that's
stupid, right? Can you say
ridiculous.
No, that's ridiculous.
Unless they're like triumph of the will form my character, be like, but I mean, I probably would have broken. That would have just been something that, that makes sense, and that's why I was already planning on breaking up with you.
Eric Holmes, did you always know that I was reckless with my emotions? Did you always know that?
Yeah, I had an idea.
Did you also have an idea that Reckless is going to be one of the movies we're covering this week on CinemAddicts? Did you have that idea?
Before today, no. I didn't think we would, but here we are.
How uncomfortable was that segue? Anyways, the movies we're covering, again, like I said, are Ask E. Jean. By the way, that's a documentary which Eric covered. Spoiler alert, Eric, what's your mini review of Ask E. Jean documentary? Should people see it?
Yes.
Okay. Saccharine, should people see it, Eric Holmes?
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Okay. And then Sick Puppy. Am I a sick puppy for doing that thing with Donnie Brasco and breaking up with the girl? What am I a sick, relentless puppy for doing that years later in hindsight?
Yeah.
Yes. Has your opinion of me lowered since my comments and my situation of it? It's not a bit Donnie Brasco. A little bit.
No, it's what I expect from you. So
thank you. We're at the truth part of CinemAddicts. We're very truthful CinemAddicts.
It's one of those. Did you know it? No. Are you surprised? Not really.
Oh, because of that, Eric Holmes, should I actually be in the attic instead of Bruce Purkey, just based on my morality on that moral klutz? What do you think, Eric Holmes?
I don't need to. You never leave the house, so
I know.
There's no sense in locking you up. You're yourself in prison.
Oh, there you go. There's no way Eric Holmes can torture me like he's torturing Bruce Purkey because I am a self-flagellator. Family show. #family show. Okay, so we're good. Enough of me. Anything last week? What's it been like for you? I have the answer. Can you tell our CinemAddicts family how hard you've been working within the last 7 days? It's amazing.
I got a couple interviews. Got one for what's the documentary about Wishbone, the TV show about a dog.
Okay.
We'll talk about it when the time comes. But
right.
The interview was real fun. Just did one today for a movie called The Furious. We'll talk about The Furious when and I think
Are there cars circling around track? Cars going to different.
Nothing like that at all.
Okay.
We'll talk more about the movie when it comes out. But I will say, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out
for the
both
Furious.
Eyes, but all directions. Keep an eye out for The Furious. But I did interview with Brian Lee, and I believe I'm going to interview the director on Wednesday
next week. Okay, very cool.
Yeah. And so we'll have those up when the time comes. But guys, The Furious, get excited. Get real excited.
Get real excited. Is it better than Donnie Brasco? Well, of course it is. Sure.
We won't know. Maybe the movie's great. Maybe it sucks. We don't know yet. But
very good, Eric. He's respecting the embargo right now. Very respectful of the embargo.
Greg,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get excited.
You're getting excited. Oh, okay, very good.
So I don't think there's an embargo, but we'll talk about it when the time comes.
Okay, we don't want to leave. Okay, all right, very good. We don't want to leave Bruce Purkey out. Again, he's loitering or flirt. I don't even know if he's flourishing in the attic because he actually left the attic without Eric Holmes' knowledge because Eric Holmes was really working hard at his full-time gigs over the week. And while Eric was working, Bruce Purkey sneaked out and he just spent maybe a little bit of a lazy afternoon with this wonderful human being called Joseph Bridges. And they reviewed a movie called Scared Ishless. I mean, Ishless is actually a different word. We can't say it because we're a family show. That audio. I'm sorry, Eric Holmes. What?
That we can say it, but we won't.
But well, thank you, Eric.
And if we do, it'll be bleeped out. Greg's hands will cut it.
AI hands. Here I am talking AI. I love ChatGPT. I'm a horrible person. But I will say this. That audio, which Bruce Purkey references in the upcoming version, this installment of Cinem-Attic, it will not be on the show. I will post it up separately. Okay, so that audio will be posted separately. And then there's another audio that Eric will get to regarding a director he interviewed, and we're going to tease that because that'll be later in the episode as well. A lot of this stuff will be found on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel. So if you can, please share, comment, subscribe, go to our CinemAddicts YouTube for all things cinematics. I've been talking too much, Eric Holmes. What movie do you want to start off with first?
Let's talk about Mobile Suit Gundam. Oh, wait, no.
That got us really good reviews on our YouTube channel. Check out. And Eric Holmes. Thank you, Eric Holmes, for your really honest opinions. He got a lot of engagement from...
You know what?
Yes.
As many people that were giving me crap for not reading every book and seeing every TV show and as you do with movies. Because, for instance, we're talking about Saccharine. I've not seen every movie involving every
piece of food,
and every filmmaker that made that movie. So I have no frame of reference. I've not seen every movie ever made. I should not be reviewing movies at all unless I've seen every movie. Oh, God. But the weird thing is, as much crap as I've gotten, some people that have seen everything have seen it and go, and Eric's kind of right. So
yes,
suck it, nerds.
Yeah, suck it, nerds. Very good. You said suck it, right? So I don't have to AI. Yeah, he did say suck it. Very,
here's the thing. You got different opinions. That's all fine and well. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Disagree with me. Tell me I'm wrong. All fair. As soon as you start being a dick, I stop listening to you.
Exactly. And that's why Eric Holmes refuses to listen to Bruce Purkey because we all know he is right? And he's a Richard. Bruce Purkey, you're a big Richard. What? Yes, Eric.
As soon as you start being a dick, not only does I stop listening to you, I might be a dick back. So
okay. He might put you in the attic, folks. Okay, you know what? Because he mentioned Saccharine, do we start with Saccharine first, Eric Holmes? Or no? What do you want to do? You're the boss.
Yeah, let's go with Saccharine first.
All right, Saccharine. It centers on this young woman, I believe. Her name is Hannah. She's played by Midori Francis. Hannah is a medical student. She believes she's overweight. Okay, I think it starts off, she looks perfectly normal in my opinion, but she feels that she's overweight and you see her working out on the, not Stairmaster, she's on a, what is the thing? I think it's a Stair. Yeah, she's on a Stairmaster and she looks to her left and there's a girl on a bike and she's really hot and heavy for her. She's just checking her out and that girl ends up being a fellow colleague of hers. And we'll get to that in a second. But Hannah is a medical student. She wants to lose weight, number one. So that girl she's looking, sort of very quickly scoping up next to her and who's biking, that woman is along with being a student. I think
it was a former classmate.
Yeah, she's a student. When she's
hey, how's it going? She's like, oh, you're Melissa or whatever her name was. And then she talks about like how she just lost a bunch of weight. You didn't ask me. It's like, all right, how'd you lose weight? Actually, it wasn't that difficult. Just took these pills. Here, you want one? Here, take two.
Oh, right. And that was another. We'll get to that in a second. But the girl that she was scoping out was she was working out at the same gym. But that woman is played by, what is her name? Madeline Madden. Madeline Madden is this woman who is the object of Hannah's affections.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And this woman, at the end of the workout, she talks to Hannah and says, hey, I'm hosting a 12-week workout class to get in shape. Do you want to be a part of it? Hannah's initially resistant, but eventually Hannah enrolls in this 12-week course to better her body and maybe lose weight. And then to Eric's point, Later that evening, Hannah is celebrating her birthday. She goes to a club with a couple of her friends. One of her friends is a fellow medical student played by Daniel McDonald. All right, so they're in this club, and like Eric mentions, there's an attractive young woman who starts talking to Hannah. That attractive young woman, she offers Hannah a pill, and that woman is a former high school classmate, like Eric mentioned, of Hannah's, and she offers her a pill and a couple pills, and Hannah takes a pill, and then it's very layered because they party all night, and when Hannah wakes up, she sees I believe she's eaten a lot of food. Her room's a little bit messy because there's filled with just, I don't know, not cans, but just Tupperware. You could tell that she had a full night of eating and binging along with partying. And then she also had the pills. And then but she quickly realizes that the pills help her lose weight. They help her lose weight even though she's eating, and she's trying to figure out what's in the pills. Eric Holmes, should we mention what's in the pills? Because Bruce Purkey, I listened to his review, he mentioned what's in the pills, and then in this official synopsis of Saccharine, they mentioned what's in the pills. I thought they shouldn't mention it. It would have been cool.
I think it's fine because she finds it out pretty quick. And
okay, you're right.
It's not so much what the pills are made of, or rather what she makes the pills out of. It's what that means later on. That would be the spoiler. What the pills are made of is kind of pretty early. But
okay, well, why don't you mention what the pills are made of, and then you take over as far as your thoughts.
She takes one of the pills and pulls it apart and does and I don't know what you call it, but she basically just looks to see what it's made out of.
Right.
Uses instruments at her job. Oh, this is made out of human ash,
yeah.
And then so she takes pieces of the cadavers, burns them up, and makes her own pills out of it. And then all the stuff that was happening before starts really ramping up, like a lot, and then it starts getting sort of creepier and crazier from there.
Okay, Eric mentioned creepier and crazier. The reason why it's creepy and crazy are two reasons. Like I mentioned, Hannah enrolls in a 12-week workout course because A, she wants to lose weight, but most importantly than A, she's pretty much in lust with that instructor. Okay, that's part one. Part two is Eric mentioned the cadavers, turning them into ashes. She and her medical students, they have a cadaver that they get to work on within the semester. And this cadaver, they nicknamed that cadaver Betty, either Betty or Bertha. I think it's Bertha because the cadaver is really big. So the cadaver is so big that Hannah, throughout the course of making these pills, she can take portions of this body or bones, like Eric says, grind them up, put them through an incinerator, make ash, and then make her own weight loss pills. And the rest of the movie deals with, while Hannah is making these pills and taking these pills, she's also binging on food. What's weird is the more she eats, the more weight she loses. Yeah. Right, Eric? And what is the mystery behind that? There is a supernatural element, Eric, and then I'm going to let you take it.
She has this insatiable hunger, and so she's constantly binging. But then if she, like, the more she eats, the more she loses weight. But if she doesn't eat, that's when she starts getting haunted by these crazy visions. Or
what do you think? Yeah, what do you want to say? Do you want to say vision? Do you want to say something else? I'm cool with whatever you want to say.
It's unclear whether she's actually seeing or experiencing this, or if it's all in her head.
Fair.
Because there's even a couple times where, like, she'll have a friend there. Don't you see it? No, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about. So she doesn't know if she's going crazy or if she's being haunted for real.
Okay. When we get to,
you'll find out later on.
Okay, good. We'll find out later on. And maybe at the end of the show, Eric and I will possibly do a little bit of a mini spoiler on Saccharine. It's directed by, I believe, what's her name? Natalie
James.
Yes. Thank you, Eric.
Who did what?
Well,
Relic.
We did Relic. She did Relic, which some years ago, me, Bruce, and Eric absolutely raved about this movie. And then several years later after that, she had a higher scale film. I think it's a Paramount release, Apartment 7A, which I still have not gotten to. So I think me and Eric, and I'm assuming Bruce, are quote unquote judging or reviewing this movie on the basis of 4 or 5 years ago. We really loved Relic. So we have, I don't know, Eric, I'm putting words in your mouth. I had high expectations for Saccharine, knowing the director. All that said, Eric, how did this live up or live down to your expectations as far as the story
Well, I
goes?
think much like Relic, Natalie Erica James has a way of giving some real creepiness out of things that it's hard to explain because it's not like in your face creepiness, like, ooh, look how creepy we are. We're going to tilt our head sideways and do all that. It's real subtle, but kind of like in Relic, where it's like they go into one room and another room and it's got kind of like an endless building, sort of kind of nightmare quality to it, but it's not like not in your face. This one is a little bit more, but not as much as other movies like this might be.
Bruce mentioned this movie when I
also,
asked. He said it was gross. Did you find the movie to be gross?
sometimes, yeah. Especially when she's eating, because like they always do like the close up of her mouth and the crank the noise up. I would say this movie kind of comes off as fat phobic sometimes, which people might have an issue with. I just look at it as a movie, but like I'm the guy that liked The Whale, and there was plenty of people that had bad things to say about that because of the fat phobic nature of that. And fair enough, if you had those issues with The Whale, you might have that with Saccharine as well.
Can it be triggering? Can this movie be triggering to some people, possibly because of that?
For that, yeah, and also some of the stuff that happens in the movies kind of. I personally wouldn't be eating while I was watching this, just because some of the stuff is pretty gross.
Is it too much? Is it too excessive, you think?
I think that's kind of what he's going for. So I wouldn't call it too much. I'd call it kind of nailed the target they're aiming for.
Remember, this is a medical student. So if you think there's not going to be medical situations in this movie that might gross you out as well as the food eating, you'll be wrong. There are some moments. Yes, Eric.
To your point, though, that stuff's not nearly as gross as the food eating. I don't
right.
Just the way they shoot it and the way they do the sound on the food eating, and even the end credits, the kind of end titles before they go. It doesn't have a mid credit scene or anything like that, but the title sequence they do before the rolling credits, it's not fun to look at. We'll say that.
Well, Eric, I'm not going to ask for your rating first. I'm going to throw in a couple of things. Not a caveat, a couple of things before you give me your rating.
That's a different director. But
yeah, you're right. Exactly. On caveat. That's a great film, by the way. But Saccharine, before you get to your rating, Eric, I don't want you to even write your rating. I want you to ruminate on this. Couple of facts. Midori Francis, who plays Hannah, very great.
I love her in this. Yeah.
So good. Do you think that she actually ate the food or the slushies? Do you think they did a good editing job?
I mean, I don't know how you would, the slushy part, the only way to not do it is you would have to use CGI because it was just one. Right. They didn't do a bunch of quick cuts. It was just one shot, and then she did the thing.
Do you think she ate all the food there? And can you imagine?
It's hard to say. I would probably guess a lot of it. I mean,
all of it. She ate. Can you imagine? And are we assuming that these shots are not one take? Are we assuming that? Come on, Eric. Is that not dedication? That's number one.
Yeah.
She ate all the food.
The amazing thing is her character, because this has kind of like the movie Thinner. Like I guess Thinner is so Midori, she's not huge, but she's got a little weight on her. And then throughout the movie, they kind of, I'm guessing they use makeup and whatnot to kind of pare it down as she's supposed to be getting thinner and thinner throughout.
Right, that's her real frame, and then she was in a big suit for the This wasn't like Brendan Fraser, and no,
it wasn't quite. This was real subtle. Put on a couple of pounds, kind of like me or Greg. Well, probably more me, but
probably more me too. Yeah,
but when you say that she ate all that, now I'm thinking of it, and it was like, well, towards the end of the movie, she's like at her skinniest that she's going to be.
Right.
How did she maintain that? Well, I'm guessing every day on set she has to eat 12 pounds of food or whatever.
Unbelievable. My
guess is that she would have had to chew it, cut,
trash
can immediately after.
Exactly. Very good, Eric.
Not even to maintain weight, just after a while, you just be like,
you might really throw up. It might make you throw up.
Go to a buffet and take 7 plates. Yeah, you're going to start hurting after about the 3rd or 4th one. Yeah,
exactly, Eric.
Different people can do different things, but someone at her size, I can't. Yeah, I don't know how she pulled it off. But even beyond that, I really liked her character in this.
Number 2 movie fact. Director Natalie Erica James, her father in real life, had a lifelong struggle with weight. So Saccharine is partly inspired by just seeing how it affected him, how food affected his life, and by default the family's life as well. So a bit of Saccharine, which again was written and directed by Natalie Erica James, was inspired by that. So those are a couple of movie facts before, Eric, you get into your rating and final thoughts on.
I mean, that's interesting. I'd like to hear her thought, because I don't think I'm speaking out of turn saying that there's some people going to be watching this calling it fat phobic and not liking it for that reason alone. And if that turns out to be the case, I mean, if people watch it and they don't care, then fair enough. But if it turns out that people watch it and feel that way about it, it'd be interesting to hear her thoughts on it, coming at it from that point of view.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be very interesting. I wish either you or me was able to do an interview for Saccharine. They never got back to us. So I'm giving Saccharine 0 stars, man.
No,
come on. Is that biased? Is that unprofessional? Is that unprofessional? Am I being unprofessional? Yes, I am. You're
gonna get the Mobile Suit Symphony of circle people angry.
Eric Holmes, what is your rating on Saccharine?
What am I on this?
How about this? Can I go first?
I'm 3.5, between 3.5 and 4 on this. I'll lean 3.5.
3.5.
But it's certainly effective. But also, this is a situation where the Relic set a really high bar. This doesn't quite meet that bar, but still pretty good. I would recommend it.
Saccharine for me is, I really glommed onto this movie because, well, as Eric and Bruce know, over a year ago, because this movie, it talks about weight loss drugs. That's one of the themes of the movie. I took a weight loss drug. I took Zepbound. When I took Zepbound, I was 206 pounds. I went, and Eric, you probably don't know this. I don't know if you're observant. Within the last 11 months, I went from 206 within 2 or 3 months. I went all the way down to about 155. So I lost about 50 pounds. I now plateaued back to about 178. But during that journey, it was very surreal when I got down to that really low weight. And it got to the point where there were times when I felt dizzy, or I would tell some of my close friends, I didn't tell you this, Eric, but and you are a close friend, by the way, but I would say, I've lost all this weight, but I still feel like the person I was at 206, and it's playing with my head. And this movie, don't throw these big words to me. I read about it.
That's what they call it.
Don't give me this education, Eric.
I won't say their name, but I had a friend tell me that I think I should go on a diet. And me and the other people were looking at him like, are you crazy? What, are you going to lose bone mass? There's nothing left.
Exactly.
Actually, now that I think of it, maybe that's kind of, because the main character, she's Hannah. She's not like grossly overweight or anything.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But like in her head, she feels that, and so I got to lose weight to be accepted or whatever. And so, I'd said maybe people think it's fat phobic. And maybe it is, but I think kind of when you started talking about the weight loss thing, maybe it's more about the body dysmorphia of it all.
Very good. And, very interesting, Eric. Yeah.
Hey, look, if you want to lose weight, do that. But just know that people are still going to love you for who you are, no matter what you look like.
100%.
And so to put yourself through all that hell just to lose a couple of pounds, and actually, I'm going to bump this up to a 4.
Of course, I love it, Eric. You bump it up to a 4.
We'll get more into spoilers, because I'm kind of, see, this is a good thing about doing the review stuff. Like, you come in with an idea, and then we start talking, or like with the drama, me and Bruce start talking, and then
in fact,
watching movies in a vacuum sucks. It's always fun when you get to talk to someone about it. Just kind of get your brain turning.
Eric, so my rate,
I'm up to 4 stars on this.
Very good. 4 stars for Eric Holmes. For me, since it was a personal journey as well, watching this movie. Also, Eric, who's my favorite director?
It's Michael. Oh, wait, no, not Michael Bay. Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma. There is a moment in the 3rd act where we see Hannah. I talked about medical stuff. She's trying to do something medical. And this something medical leads into this very surreal, is it real, is it not situation. So think about...
I'm so glad I bumped this up to 4 now.
Right. Think about scalpel. Think about possible transparent or white trash bag, plastic bag. Think about...
I don't want to think about that anymore.
Think about Bertha. Think about Shoots. And think about looking into the very parts of your soul. So all of these things.
There was a scene in one of the Saw movies. I think it was like 2 or 3. I can't remember. But the one character falls into a pit of needles.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
And then there's a scene similar to that in this. And not quite as visceral because it's not a pile of needles, but it is just a bunch of the biohazard bags from hospitals. Oof. Or like, I'm just looking at it like going, oh, nope, get the hell out of there right now.
There is a sequence here which look, if I'm trying to make all of us a little bit more cheeseburger money over in CinemAddicts, but if I get on a given week, if I have enough money, I want to purchase this on Blu-ray and watch that scene over and over again because
why would you torture yourself like that?
It's such
and let me be clear, that's a great scene. And it's so good, I never want to watch it again.
It's such a beautifully mounted scene. And I was referencing Brian De Palma because, as Eric and, of course, Bruce knows, that the reason De Palma is my favorite favorite director is because he mounts visual sequences, which, irregardless of the plot or its cohesion within the fabric of the storyline, it's just a masterful watch. And Eric said it is a scene that a lot of people don't want to see again. But for some reason, maybe because I'm just a weirdo who just breaks up with people over Donnie Brasco, but I just want to keep on seeing that over and over again. And we're going to get to spoilers. We've been talking about Saccharine way too much. 4.5 stars for me. Absolutely love this movie. So glad that Eric bumped it up to a 4. I'm not going to say what Bruce Purkey's rating is, but I may bump up Bruce Purkey's rating myself and just AI his review. Sorry, Bruce Purkey. I can. Don't you talk to me like that with your education body dysmorphia. Bruce Purkey, you're going to be AI today. I'm going to AI your review. Check that out, Bruce Purkey. Yes.
No, it's nice doing the podcast with you, Greg.
That is your review of Saccharine. Eric Holmes, what is our next movie? What do you think?
Oh, what do we do? Let's do Reckless.
Okay. My favorite director is Brian De Palma. Eric Holmes, who's one of your favorite actors of all time and why?
I mean, Scott Adkins, because look at him.
Oh, look at him. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at a Google Doc right now, but for our listeners who are not in the know, what makes Scott Adkins one of your favorites, if not your favorite actor of all time? I mean, why is he up there in that Mount Rushmore of actors for you?
First of all, he gets action movies. He understands so that he's not the director, he's the actor in them, producer many times. But the movies that he's in, these are movies where they understand action and what makes it visceral, what makes it fun. But also he's an underrated actor, I think, because he can do the stoic hero guy. He can do the intimidating heavy, like Boyka in the Undisputed movies.
Avengement.
Avengement.
Come on, right?
Look, I know some of you may not love yourself, and that's too bad. You should love yourself. You're worth it. And to prove that you love yourself, you need to go watch Avengement and then get that in your eyeballs and go, I'm glad I watched that because Avengement's so good.
It's amazing movie.
Then he's got roles like this where he's kind of like he's like an idiot or like a dork or just some guy that's he's not like superhero guy. He's just kind of like a fall guy or a sort of a pushover. Now a pushover that can kick butt for sure, but he's not what you would call the smartest guy in the room at any given moment.
Well, Eric, I'm going to butt in right now. I'm going to just go plot synopsis before you get into the whole thing. Quote, a former convict on parole. I'm assuming that's Scott Adkins, right?
That we'll get there. That's a little further down the line.
Oh,
so it starts off with a robbery. And then him and a bunch of guys, they got the masks over their heads. It's like the British flags. And then they get a bunch of money and they leave. And they're like, okay, we're gonna meet at this airfield. And there's a propeller jet or a private jet or whatever that they're going to meet up with some people and then fly to wherever and make their getaway. Or maybe they're going to drive somewhere. I don't know why you would meet up at an airfield if you're going to drive away. But regardless, they're meeting up with people there. And then they're going to go to wherever they're going to go from there. And he's waiting there, and then the cops show up. And then he looks in the bag that they gave him, and there's no money in it. It's just a bunch of pieces of paper. Oh, they set me up. So now he goes to prison. He gets out of prison, and
wow, okay.
And now we're at the plot summary.
He must outwit the police to get his share of an old heist. It runs 91 minutes. The co-stars, along with Scott Adkins, its co-stars Vinnie Jones and Chris Johnson. Reckless is on digital and on demand May 22nd. We are recording right now on May 21st. Eric Holmes, he could have rested for at least several hours today because he's been working really hard, but you had to get Reckless in. Was it worth the no sleep Eric to get in Reckless for this show?
Always, every time. It was like Scott Adkins movie. I couldn't sleep now if I wanted to. I gotta get this thing in my eyeballs. Yeah, it says so. It's Scott Adkins and who is
yes,
Nicole Dion.
Okay.
So Scott Adkins goes to one of the people that owes him money after he got hosed and went to prison. Now he's out of prison. He's looking for, why'd you screw me over? Where's my money? And not just where's my money, but I just got out of prison. I got nothing. I have no friends because they'll screw me over. I got no money because he stole it from me. And now he's just gonna kind of go person to person till he finds Bill, and I'm gonna kill Bill. Not really, but he's gonna go person to person until he can get his money, get some answers, get anything. First person he goes to is this guy in this building, like some business dude, and he goes in there, and Nicole Dion, Kimber, she's in there, and he's sexually harassing her pretty hard. He's basically about to rape her, and she grabs him, and Scott Adkins sitting outside, give me my money. He's just kind of hyping himself up. Sir, could you please? No. Give me all the money right now. Where is it? Why'd you do that? He's pacing and sort of hyping himself up for it. And he's, okay, we're going to do this. And he gets a gun and he walks in. The secretary lays, sir, you're not allowed. And he just walks in. As soon as he walks in, is about the time when the guy's about to, on top of Kimber, trying to rape her. She grabs a vase just as Scott Adkins comes in, pulling the gun. Give me my, boom, hits him upside with the vase. He gets cut in the neck. And the guy's bleeding on a chair, and Scott like, what the? And he's freaking out. What the hell's going on? And so the guy's bleeding out on the chair. He's yelling at Kimber, what the hell was going on? And so she's like cowering in the corner. And he's just tell me. He's like holding the cut over his neck to keep him from bleeding. Like, hey, where's the money? And he dies. And then he works out that, he was a piece of crap. Was he trying to? He's trying to do something. He totally wasn't he? Yeah, he's a piece of crap, so he gets what he deserves. And anyway, so there's cops coming because there's a dead body. There's also the mob coming because he's connected. And so now Kimber and Devin, Scott Adkins, are on the run. Scott Adkins is trying to find his money and trying to avoid the cops and the mob.
Oh, that's a good plot. I like it. Yeah, I like it. And then, it works.
There's a bunch of fights and stuff sprinkled within that, but yeah, that's the plot you got going, and yeah, it's
91 minutes well spent, basically. Good.
Oh yeah, this is one of those movies that kind of feels longer, but not in a bad way. Like you get like a 70-minute movie you watch, and it feels like it doesn't feel like long, like it dragged on, but it feels long like an epic or a full meal because just how much crap they got to go through to finally get to where they want to go. And then it ends, I won't say how it ends, but it ends well. We'll leave it at that.
Did it end? Okay. Was the ending effective for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Eric, devil's advocate, say the person listening to your review of Reckless says, well, I like Scott Adkins. I don't remember seeing Avengement, but I've seen him in a couple movies. I don't know if I'm a huge fan, but should I watch Reckless even if I'm not a huge fan?
I think in this one you get more of debt collector Scott Adkins. You're getting that kind of or not debt collector, accident man Scott Adkins,
which is more of a comedic side of Scott Adkins.
Yeah, and there's one guy going around following him around. He was in prison, and let me pull up what his name was, but there was there is some gay panic in this, which I wasn't quite a fan of, but his name's Bishop. Mark Strange played a character named Bishop, and he's we'll use this finger, but which one he actually used, because it's a family show.
Oh, very good, Eric. Very good.
First the finger, then the fist, then he likes his that Bishop's a character. We'll say Bishop's a character. But there's a kind of, was someone raping in prison? No, I didn't. I don't have a boyfriend. That stuff gets kind of old just in general. We're in 2026. We don't have to do those jokes anymore. Other than that, is good stuff. And this is more of a comedic. Oh, so with the Bishop character, there's a part where someone takes an axe to the forehead.
Ooh, ouch.
And so you see the axe, and as soon as the axe hits, there's a black bar that says censored on it. And or when they do like a flashback or not a flashback, like when Scott Adkins was in prison. Instead of showing him in prison, they have this animated sort of montage sequence. So they have a bunch of those for the movie. So it's got that kind of feel to it, and it's
action comedy. Is that it?
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a laugh riot, but it's certainly light, and it's certainly meant to be not taking itself too seriously. They sprinkle a little cheese on this taco, and I kind of dig it.
Reckless, a cinematic cheesy taco reviewed by Eric Holmes. What is your final thought and rating on this Scott Adkins headline film?
I'll go 3.5 on this one. I think I'm locked in at 3.5 on this one, but
cool.
It's so good. If you like Scott Adkins, this one's a no-brainer. I think if you don't like Scott Adkins, you know that already, whatever. But yeah, if you're just know there's some gay panic jokes, if that's much like the Saccharine thing with the fat phobic stuff, and which I guess now that we talked about it, maybe it's not, but who knows? Just know that's in here. If that's going to turn you off, just know that'll happen, so you're not blindsided by it. But otherwise, it's 90 minutes. Seems longer, but not in a bad way, more like a full meal kind of way. The action's great, and Scott Adkins, come on, he's awesome.
Very cool. Thank you for that review.
Oh, and Vinnie Jones, he's like the main. I didn't even mention Vinnie Jones. He's like the main bad guy. I guess Vinnie Jones, he didn't have a whole lot in. I mean, he's in throughout the movie, but he's like the looming threat in the background. You see him a couple times, and every once in a while, the cut to him is, we gotta find and kill this guy. He's being the typical bad guy. Now, is he Mark Zaror in Diablo? Absolutely not. Mark Zaror in Diablo set the bar up to 10. So good luck to anyone that wants to reach that. But Vinnie Jones, I mean, Vinnie Jones, he plays a good heavy, so
he's good.
He's good in this one as well.
And credit to Eric Holmes, after your review of Diablo, I never told you my mom ended up watching Diablo, and she really enjoyed that film as well. So
Diablo's so good. I love that movie.
All right, finally, as far as our featured movies go, we have one final review. It's a documentary called Ask E. Jean. Eric Holmes will break this documentary down and give a review, but I just have one question before you launch into this. This documentary is, quote, the thrilling story of E. Jean Carroll's life, from her early days as Miss Cheerleader USA to her rise as a journalist, and it covers a lot of her career and then covers the lawsuit she had and won against Donald Trump. My question before you launch into your review is whether you're independent, Democrat or Republican, is Ask E. Jean a must-watch documentary no matter what party you find yourself affiliated with, and just have an open mind to this documentary?
Trump supporters are going to have a hard time watching this.
Okay.
But they're just going to have to bend over backwards to pretend that things that happened didn't happen. But I mean, that's their bread and butter, isn't it? Trump does nothing but lie about everything. And so they're used to lying along with him, drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. Ask E. Jean just follows her through her past successes as a writer. And then she had her own TV show, Ask E. Jean. It was like a Dear Abby, but like a televised version of that.
Is she an interesting figure when you were watching the documentary?
Oh, she's great in this. I wasn't familiar with her previously. I guess she was a big deal back in the day, but I was too young to that's adult stuff. That's not cartoons. That's not something I want to watch. So I wasn't that familiar with her back in the day, but apparently she was a big deal back then. And so you get the documentary kind of follows her past career up until what she's doing now. And so you really get a chance to know her. And she's also has a devil may care attitude. Like she's
very cool.
She'll not that she's a jerk about it, but like she doesn't candy coat anything, and she's just unapologetically herself. And so that's kind of, but she's not like an a-hole. She's still a fun-loving person and someone that I think most people would like to hang around with. Maybe too much for some, but I mean, if I was hanging around with E. Jean, I'd be like, oh, this is awesome. She parties. Cool, let's do this. But then they go back to her building a case against Donald Trump, which was tough, would have been tough to do. She recounts in the documentary and in court, she recounted all the stuff that she accused Donald Trump of. And in all Donald Trump's wisdom, he never said no. He said she's too hideous to rape, She's not my type. That's not a no. That's a I would have had she been prettier, which is pretty abhorrent. But then they had a thing of they had some footage of Donald Trump, and they showed him a picture. It was a picture of Donald Trump, like the back of his head. You can tell it's him, and he's at this party, and then it's E. Jean right there, her husband right next to her, and Marla Maples on the side. And then whoever's showing Donald Trump the picture, it's like, so you said E. Jean's not your type? He's no, not really. And it was, all right, do you know what this is a picture of? It's, oh yeah, that's a picture of me and my wife. And okay, you point at your wife. He doesn't point at Marla Maples. He points at E. Jean. And then they're like, I'm sorry, the which one's your wife? Yeah, her right there. It's her right here. It's like, oh, that's E. Jean. It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, this is Marla Maples. This was your wife at the time. It's, oh, okay. Yeah, well, it was a long time ago. I don't remember. And then they're like, would you say that your past wives are your type? He says yes. So you thought she was your wife. So she must have been your type. So that wasn't like the only reason he lost, but that was one of the main linchpins of why he lost that. And then the second time she sued him was after that, he was like just basically slandering her. And then all the Trump supporters kind of came and started giving her death threats and everything. So she sued him again for a different type of harassment and won that too. And so, yeah, there's not much in this that could be cooked. Sometimes you see a documentary that's politically leaning and they overlooked this or they added that, but it didn't really, they made this look like a big deal when it's really not, or took this out of context. This is pretty open about everything. The only thing it's not open about that I wish they could have shown more of is the actual court case. I mean, obviously I love courtroom dramas, so I would have loved to see more, but the way they did it here was they kind of give all the pieces of the puzzle and then cut right to her walking out of the courtroom, having just won the case. And then the second time, they give you all the pieces of the puzzle and then cut right to her walking out, winning her second case. And then But
I think this is also just an interesting, okay, of course, the Trump case looms large within the documentary, but I think with your review, it's also an interesting insight into learning about E. Jean Carroll. I think that could be a huge draw as far as the documentary goes.
Yeah.
People, okay.
I would say also maybe someone watches this review and they're a Trump supporter and they're like, oh, what about this? What about that? This is all in the documentary. Go watch the documentary and then come back at me later on because all the stuff. And then if you're
saying the documentary's not cooked. If the documentary's not cooked, then it's going to be an even-handed account. So I wonder people.
Well, I wouldn't call it even-handed because Donald Trump's just wrong in this, but it's not flaming them. It's just saying this is what happened. This is
presenting
the evidence. This is all the stuff that we have. What's your thoughts? It's probably the same of my thoughts because unless you're someone like Trump that likes to ignore reality, there's no other way to look at this.
Okay, so that is Ask
and then if you go back and watch the documentary and you still come at me with some BS, I'm done listening to you because I don't have time for that.
All right. Ask E. Jean running at 91 minutes currently on Rotten Tomatoes. I know it only has maybe 14 reviews or 12 to 14 reviews, but it's running at 100% as of this recording. Eric Holmes, final thought and rating.
This one's a 3-star banger. It's a really good documentary. I love E. Jean. I love spending time with her within the context of this documentary. This is not gonna affect anyone that is a Trump supporter. This is purely a documentary that's gonna preach to the choir. Not really preaching, that's not fair, but the people that already believe this is just gonna give them more ammunition to come at anyone that disagrees, because you're not disagreeing at this point. Now you're just being willfully ignorant. But yeah, this is a perfect example of a documentary that's never, ever, never going to affect the people that needs to most. The people that need to hear this, the people that need to see this, the people that need to get some truth in their lives, they're going to fold their arms and turn their noses up at this. That is almost guaranteed, which is unfortunate. But I mean, when your leader's a liar, what can you expect?
Yeah, that is Ask E. Jean, 3-star banger from Eric Holmes. It is currently playing now as it's recording now playing in select theaters. We have the actual website. It's in our show notes. So I'll leave a link and where you can go check out Ask Gene. If it's not playing in your local theater this weekend, it'll be playing down the road as well.
Yes, yeah. And again, it has nothing to do with the quality of the documentary. It has everything to do with, it's just trying to get the truth out there. It does that and does it well. The people that need to hear it the most won't. They'll ignore it right off the jump. Because the reason is they're just obsessed with Trump. I can't tell you where this obsession comes from, but
yeah.
I'm trying to set you up for a segue here.
You're trying to set me up for a segue. I'm in rapt attention, Eric Hobbs. I have no comment because I don't lean anyway. I just want cheeseburger money for all three of us. So I hate to say it. Where's the fence? If there's a fence, I'm going to straddle it. Okay, I'm the fence straddle. I'm going to call myself out. Bruce may be in the attic. Eric goes to be...
You straddle fence. That's how you get your nuts cut.
Yeah. Well, what nuts? Family show. I don't know. What are those, Eric Holmes? I don't know. Good point. See, Eric Holmes is not going to defend me. How can you defend someone who's indefensible? I did that. Did you not listen to my Donnie Brasco story, folks, in the beginning? You knew this all along. You knew who Kaiser Soze was. You knew it all along. So, anyways, who's the AI evil person? That's me. I'm just telling you. That's me. But anyways, that is very good coverage from Eric Holmes. And we want to also mention regarding Ask Gene on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel. I'll also put this up on our audio podcast feed. He did do an interview, a very good interview with filmmaker and producer Ivy Mirpol. And you can check it out on our CinemAddicts YouTube channel as well as our audio feed. So for more information on Ask Gene, 3-star banger, currently on Rotten Tomatoes at 100%. Go check this movie out. I will have the website links in our show notes. All right. Last but not least, do we have a last but not least? I think, you know what? Eric and I were going to talk about Obsession, but I really want to talk about the Saccharine spoilers, and we're going to put that on the YouTube channel as well. But Eric, just a couple minutes thoughts on Obsession before we get into Saccharine spoilers. Just quick rating, and should people watch it this weekend?
There's a reason why genies won't allow you to wish for someone to love you. And this movie illustrates exactly why that is. 4.5 stars.
4.5 stars. Obsession. A very, very quick review from Eric Holmes. Bruce Purkey, you can learn from Eric Holmes because your reviews are like, what is it?
We'll talk more spoilers about this movie.
Down the road, Leo Tolstoy and Eric Holmes, Bruce Purkey. He has such in-depth reviews. Sometimes I just want our reviews to be so small and short, just like me, small and short. But very quickly, I guess Eric Holmes wanted to talk some Obsession spoilers in a second. So I'll just give a quick mini review of Obsession. I saw this movie last weekend at a rundown theater where the seats, I sound very bougie, the seats don't even recline. The seats feel like they haven't been cleaned in years or shampooed in years. The Diet Coke I was drinking was flat. I felt like I was in the middle of nowhere with this theater. Not going to mention where this theater is located, Northridge, but I will say something about Obsession. It was a perfect movie for Obsession because it's such, it's a movie that really gets under my skin. Got under my skin. This is one of my favorite films of the year. I know I'm not saying this because of what it did over the box office over the weekend. Not going to glaze this movie like that. This Obsession, I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, it should be in my top 10 of the year. I absolutely love this movie. It's a 5-star film for me. As Bruce Purkey would say, 5-star classic, or Eric Holmes would say 6.9 stars. This is right. I love Obsession so much. Eric and I
probably went too quick, did not mention Indy Navarrete, the main actor.
Don't worry, I go too quick all the time, so you don't have to worry. Family show, but very good. She's very good, amazing. Oscar nomination.
That's underselling the hell out of it. Like the way she goes from like normal to crazy back to normal, like within a second. Like and her character's got like a ton to do in this, like in that regard. And
essentially, she plays two characters in this movie. She plays two characters.
Yeah, one after like just hops into both characters, like hops into the manic and the depressive, and hops into both seamlessly in this.
Yeah, she is just a two-faced type of role. Reminds us of the inner workings of Bruce Purkey. He is such a psychologically complex human being, right, Eric Holmes? You just don't know where you're gonna get it from Bruce, but you're gonna get Bruce Purkey. You're gonna see some of his psychosis, and most importantly, his cinematic knowledge in a few moments. Eric Holmes, you want to say something before we get out of here?
Yes. Go watch Obsession, and then go watch Ask Gene, and then Saccharine, and then Relentless. And then, hey, Greg,
Yes, sir.
There's a movie coming out soon, probably in a couple of weeks, month. I'm not sure when exactly it'll come out, but when it comes out, we'll talk about it. It's called The Furious. That's all I'm going to say about it. All I'm going to say about
it. Very cool. Very cool. And that is some very wise words from Eric Holmes. And I apologize, folks, if some of this podcast might be AI'd. Eric Holmes knows what I am because of the Donnie Brasco reference. That's this little thing like that. And if you want the real truth, go straight to the source with Eric Holmes. And of course, our buddy up in the attic, Bruce Purkey. Here he is.
Welcome to the Cinem-Attic, and for all of you that didn't hear me last week, I did record a whole episode. I had 3 or 4 movies on there, but the audio was all messed up, so you didn't get to hear my dulcet tones. You didn't get to hear me talk to you about awesome movies. Maybe someday I'll bring back a review of some of those movies that I talked about, but for today, I have a brand new batch of movies. 3 movies, well, actually, 2 movies, and 1 TV series, season 1, that's coming out on Netflix. And that series is called The Boroughs. The movies I have for you are Saccharine and also a little movie called Sick Puppy. Now, I also have a 4th movie for you, and that's a special remote review. And assuming that Eric and Greg haven't heard it yet, I'm not going to really say what it is exactly, but I had a surprise guest, and I met that guest at a remote location. We recorded outside and reviewed a little movie called Scared Less, or Scared S-Less, because I'm sure the first version will get deleted by the AI that Greg uses because he's a robot lover. I don't know what's up with that, but he is. To each their own. I tend to not partake of the robot universe as much as possible. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's start out with the TV series, The Boroughs. Season 1, dropping on Netflix probably when you hear this or within a day of when you hear this. It is produced, or at least is executive produced. I know it's partially produced by the Duffer Brothers, and after something very bad is going to happen, this is their 2nd production coming out on Netflix this year. This one's a little different in flavor. That was very horror-centric. This one's much more, it's not the same as Stranger Things, but in the same way that Stranger Things was tapping into the Spielberg-esque kind of children and adventure kind of series and feel, this is tapping into some other aspects of kind of the Spielbergian, early Spielbergian style. Now, the basic concept of this, I would say the best way I would describe it, the best kind of references I would give for it are it's a combination of Cocoon, the 80s movie Cocoon, and Don't Worry, Darling, or the Stepford Wives, where you have these kind of very curated, idyllic-seeming communities that obviously have some kind of a secret going on underneath. So, how does this play out in The Boroughs? In The Boroughs, you've got your main character played by Alfred Molina, Sam, and he is basically going to a retirement community. And before his wife had died, they had both bought a home in this idyllic retirement community called The Boroughs. Unfortunately, she died before they got to move in there, and he reluctantly, since the money's already been paid and they really can't get out of the contract or anything, he's reluctantly taken by his daughter out there to live in The Boroughs. And he really doesn't want to do it, but he doesn't really have anywhere else to go. He definitely doesn't want to go to a retirement home. He wants to go to an actual home of his own, even though it's in this community. So basically, like very many other Spielbergian movies, it's a cul-de-sac movie where you have him, Mr. Sam, played by Alfred Molina, taking residence and starting to build up his life in this brand new house on this perfect idyllic cul-de-sac, and meeting his neighbors. His neighbors, though, are quite famous in the acting community, as they are now. You got Bill Pullman playing Jack, one of his neighbors. You got Jenna Malone as his daughter. You've got Gina Davis playing another neighbor named Renee. You've got Alfred Woodard playing one of his neighbors named Judy. And there's a whole bunch of other people. But those are some of the notable faces that, especially if you're an older viewer, you would recognize some of these actors as quite a few great actors in this piece. The twist is, and we see this at the very beginning, in fact, there's a little pre-opening sequence where you see one of these residents waking up in the middle of the night hearing sounds. And then as they're about to leave their house, you see them get grabbed by something. You don't get a good view of it, but you think it's a creature. Is it a spirit? You're not sure what it is, but I believe it happened in the house. I remember now. It's been a few weeks since I saw this. The house next to him or in his house. Basically, it happens really close to where he's living. So there's an idea that, there might be a creature loose or something supernatural going on. We're not quite sure what it is. And that's your basis. He's going to get there. Strange things might start happening. He may or may not have to team up reluctantly at first, but maybe eventually not reluctantly with his various and sundry neighbors and create kind of Stranger Things created a motley crew. Here you got a motley crew of older people, and each of them brings different skills or different strengths to the team. And that's kind of your basic setup. Now, I think this is a pretty solid series, and they could make another season of it, but I could also see this being a one and done. Either way, I think it's satisfying. The basic premise they set up in this series is followed through to the end so that you do get closure on all of these basic storylines. What is the creature? You're going to find that out. What kind of nefarious things might be going on in this overly idyllic community, which obviously has dark secrets underneath it? You will find out what is going on, and you will get some resolution to that. And will you get some ongoing and built relationships between all of these different neighbors that you want to be a part or friends with at all? Yes, you will get that as well. I would say a few things that I really enjoyed about it, other than just some great performances. I would say overall, a fairly light tone to the piece. Although there are actual stakes, people do die. So it's not full plot armor, although there's some characters you pretty much are sure will probably live. But there are people that will die in this, partly because, they're all old, so the odds of some people dying is pretty good. Also, it gives them a little bit of freedom to just go for things because, hey, they're 80 or whatever age they are. They might as well kind of live life and live this adventure and see it through. I also really like how the whole creature versus supernatural entity or whatever it is angle, I could see that totally being milked out to the very finale to find out what it actually is. That's not the case. You find out pretty quickly. I would say within I think it's about 8 episodes long, if I remember correctly. You might find out in around the 3rd episode what basically you see it. You see this creature and you find out basically what it is. You don't know exactly why it is and why it's doing what it's doing, but you get an idea of what it is doing and how it operates. So I really appreciate that too, because it changes the whole mystery of it and it changes the whole adventure, where it's not just, hey, we need to figure out what's going on and what these things are. It's more, hey, the overall mystery is much more about what's going on in this community of the Boroughs and why is it happening and how can we stop it. It's more of that kind of a thing. Once again, I could go into all the spoilers, but I don't think it's going to be really fruitful to do that on this one. I don't think it's a really deep dive mystery spoiler kind of series. I think it's much more of a enjoy the camaraderie between all these different characters and watch them grow together, and also just enjoy the adventure, because it's much more of an sci-fi tinged adventure than it is a horror or hard sci-fi. Much more of an adventure with some kind of comedic elements, but not too comedic. But it's still very lighthearted. I thought the Boroughs was a really solid watch. And for a Netflix series, you could do a whole lot worse. I think this one's pretty solid and I think worth watching, especially if you like some of those actors. It's great to see them have a lot of screen time. I would probably go, 3.5 or 4 stars on this one. I thought it was really solid. I think I'll go 3.5 stars for the Boroughs. If you tend to want to find a new series and you're looking at Netflix and you're wondering about this one, I think it's worth dipping your toes into. This is also one of those series that's rare these days where you could easily watch this with your mom and dad and they would be cool with that. It doesn't ever get too intense. It never gets too crazy. Whereas some of these series are I'm not going to be watching Euphoria with my mom and dad, but I could watch The Boroughs with my mom and dad. So that's what I got for The Boroughs. All right, next up, we have a little movie called Saccharine. Saccharine is directed by Natalie Erica James. Also stars Midori Francis as Hannah. She's your main star here. She's in almost every scene. I think she might be in every scene. Alanya is played by Madeline Madden. And then you have quite a few other characters, but they're the two main characters. Even almost more importantly, really, is the Hana character. Now, Hana is someone who deals with a lot of body issues and self-control around food, does not feel very confident in the world. Her friends are finally always trying to urge her to go out and try to date women that she sees that she's interested in, and they see how she's just not confident. She feels, like I said, she feels like she's overweight, all these things. So you see her go ahead and take on one of those 12-week challenges. She joins a gym, and you can tell she's attracted to the woman who basically runs the exercise and fitness areas of the challenge. But obviously she doesn't feel confident enough to approach or ask that person out. And along with that, her friends are finally urging her to do things, and she meets an old friend, like an old college friend at a bar. And the old college friend, she doesn't even recognize because the college friend had been overweight and has now lost a ton of weight. And the college friend says, hey, there's this pill called the Gray, which really did wonders for me, and it's how I lost a lot of this weight. So she gives a couple of those pills to Hana, and Hana reluctantly tries them. She doesn't want to really use drugs like Ozempic or whatever they might be, speed, all these things they used to old school diet weight loss drugs that were out there. But she takes it home, and because she's a medical student, and that's the other main subplot here, Hana's a medical student. In fact, they are training right now on anatomy and physiology by dissecting cadavers. She's in a group with a couple of friends, and they're dissecting cadavers. But also this gives her access to a lot of medical and testing equipment. So she takes the contents of this Gray pill, tests it, discovers essentially the compound is... And now I'm going to get into some very slight spoilers because it sets up the whole movie. So if you don't want to know anything else, I'll just say very quickly, I think on Saccharine, I'm probably 3.5 stars, just so you know. But it's got a lot of interesting stuff in it. It's a little disappointing in some other ways before I get into those little spoilers. Also, I didn't mention that Natalie Erica James is the director of Relic, which I really liked about, 5 or 6 years ago now. She also directed the recent prequel to the Rosemary's Baby kind of line of movies, which was really a letdown. And I probably put more of that onto, I'm guessing, studio influence and trying to make sure it fit into the category of what a Rosemary's Baby should be, a prequel. But it had a lot of style and interesting aspects to it. It just kind of fell down. Similarly, this movie has a lot of style and interesting aspects to it as well. I think it's a way more audacious and way more, I think, in the voice of Natalie Erica James. And if I remember correctly, she directed and wrote this, which really seems fitting, especially after seeing Relic. These kind of things that have to do with something emotional in the main character's like personal and inner life and how that's manifesting in a physical way that's supernatural. But now to get to the slight spoilers, like I said, she does a testing on the compounds that are in the Gray and discovers it's essentially human ash. Where the person got human ash and how they made that into a pill, she's not so sure, but she's sure that's what it is. She also finds out after taking the couple pills that her friend gave her that even though she ate all the same kind of junk she always ate, she wasn't eating better, she wasn't doing anything special, and if anything, she ate more junk than she should have eaten. She has an immediate, visible, trackable weight loss, and she's freaking out. So what you might suspect happens, she takes the rib cage of the cadaver that they've been dissecting and turns it to ash, burns it down in some kind of an incinerator there in the medical building, the science building, and sneaks it home, makes her a bunch of her own pills, and starts taking them as part of her regular regimen, along with the 12-week exercise thing. And thus begins her journey into this madness and obsession with losing weight and getting fit and looking a way that she thinks will make her feel better in her life. Now, along with that, there may be some supernatural elements other than just the fantasy of this magical drug, which is, people are going to know, like, it's very substance-like. Yeah, it sounds like it's very substance-like. And there are some elements to it, but it doesn't go near as off the rails, like visually or story-wise, as the substance. And it isn't as brash as the substance. And the substance was like straight-up science fiction allegory, whereas This one's much more internalized and dark, obsessive, self body image hating, and more haunted, both literally and figuratively, because there is like a haunting element to this, which I'm not going to get too into. And it works sometimes and it didn't work sometimes, but it's definitely an interesting kind of twist to add on to it. And I think that if you were to like compare this to other movies and how it would feel like thematically and emotionally, I feel like it feels more like something like Repulsion, I think, where you have a singular character, not always trapped in their apartment, but it feels very trapped. She's trapped in her body. She's trapped in her life, in her apartment, in her obsessions, in her compulsions. And this thing that should be making her feel better about herself ends up making her spin more out of control. It's a pretty interesting movie, although there are some weird aspects to it, which I almost want to get into spoilers, but I don't think I will, because I think it's going to be so new and so hard for people to come across in the near future. I think I would give it some time before I would go into the spoilers. Let's just say that it takes a while to get there. It's almost 2 hours. I feel like it definitely could have been trimmed in the first half because we get the idea, and I think you could tighten that up a little bit. Now, some people are going to be upset in the last third because it really kind of goes off the rails a little bit. She really spins out in the last half hour, and it gets way more, I wouldn't say unbelievable, but it gets way more out there as far as what she's doing as a character and what is supposedly happening in that supernatural realm, which obviously could be supernatural or could be just her head imagining things because how she feels about herself and what she's done. Either way, that last half hour goes, like I said, spins a little bit crazy, but I liked it when it did that. I wished it would have got there quicker. Now, that's not to say it doesn't go get things aren't happening all the way along. I would say this movie is really deliberate as far as giving you, if you're in there for horror, it gives you horror adjacent and horrific things happening pretty much out of the gate. But it does take a long time for the story to kind of progress for this main character. And I think that's the part that could have gone a little faster for me. As far as the ending, it doesn't quite make sense logically, but it does make sense emotionally. And I do want to say, in a visual sense, I really what Natalie Erica James does here. She does this thing where, boy, if you are phobic or at all bothered by close-up gross eating, like not mukbang level, but it's kind of approaching it at sometimes, just close-up eating and sounds of eating and just viscerally gross images, you're going to have a really hard time with this movie. I appreciate the fact that as a horror movie, that's the horror it's giving us more than the gore, although there is some gore in here. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of stuff around cadavers and bodies, so you'll get that. You'll also get a lot of stuff around, like I said, gross eating, and I think to me that's almost grosser than anything, to the point that I think Natalie Erica James knows she's doing it. I think it's on purpose, because there's this combination of like almost microscopic or macro level food images that are both kind of beautifully grotesque, but also just gross. It's a real combo. And I think that's intentional to emulate Hannah's both like compulsion to have those things, but also her kind of revulsion that she does those things. So it's that combo there for her. I think that's being represented visually. In fact, over the closing credits, there's this great stuff where there's just goopy, like almost like frosting or pudding or just different kinds of foods just flowing over objects and things. And it's like an extended sequence, and it's really quite jarring and striking. And there's some of that stuff in the movie as well. And the central performance of Hannah by Midori Francis is really good. She's fully committed. So that helps a lot with this movie too. So I probably sound like I'm higher on this movie than I am. I guess partly because I feel like Natalie Erica James has a masterpiece in her. I think Relic to me was a stronger piece overall, emotionally and kind of impact-wise. But both of them I see, both this and that one I see, there is a great filmmaker on the verge, I feel like, of the true greatness that they can come to. So this is like a slight disappointment, but also a respecting of the craft and the purity of vision here. If you're not loving it, it's not because this director isn't giving you what they want to give you. And I feel like they really are here. And if it hits you, you're gonna love it. And if you're like me and you're really hoping for something a little different, you're gonna still really like it and respect it. You're gonna wish it was something a little different, but you're gonna still like what's there and imagine what might be coming in the future. So hopefully Natalie Erica James still keeps getting at least as much budget as this movie, if not more. And hopefully they still get continued freedom to make their own vision, because I think that vision is just on the verge of some really fantastic stuff. So once again, 3.5 stars for Saccharine. If you're into body horror, gross out horror, super emotional, like character horror, like very insular character horror, I think this is something you might at least enjoy somewhat, like myself. If you're not into those kind of things, this is going to be a gross out movie you're just going to want to steer clear from. Okay, next up, we have a little movie called Sick Puppy. Sick Puppy, directed by Jay Reed, starring Natasha Callis as Charlie, Brett Geddes as John, Rachel Boyd as Mia, and then a bunch of other people. Now, this movie, oh my gosh. This movie, I was watching this and I just did not know what to think about it. In fact, I think I texted to Eric and Greg offline, and I told this, I know, directly to the mystery guest that's on later in this episode. I told them that this felt like a unintentional or accidental John Waters movie. And you might say to yourself, how do you make an unintentional John Waters movie? Well, John Waters, of course, the whole thing is he does these crazy, trashy, really in-your-face parodies and commentaries on American life, just cranked up to 12, and in the gross out and camp and all the stuff he has going on there. This movie does a lot of those things, but I feel like it is not intentionally doing those things. I feel like it's trying to be a disturbing, hard-hitting, really transgressive horror movie. And I don't think it knows how silly at its core it is. Now, sometimes I kind of feel like maybe it is intentionally trying to be funny, but I don't think it is. Because the way it presents it really straight-faced. So either it's a genius comedy that knows what it's doing, and I don't think it is. This feels like the kind of movie that after the fact, if everyone says how silly and funny it is, that the director, kind of like the Tommy Wiseau did, after the fact they'd say, yeah, I meant that. I meant to do that. I can see it being one of those kind of movies. But yeah, this movie is a lot. So what do you got here? You got your main character, Charlie, and she is... Right, hang on, let me pause here for a second. Okay, once again, you got your main character, Charlie, and she's like a vet or a vet assistant. You see her at the beginning, and she goes home, and she's cooking dinner and stuff, and she's putting on her heavy metal music and dancing around in her kitchen. And right out of the gate, you're like, this is weird. I know people might dance around to music in their own house, but she's just really dancing and playing it up. And boy, she just loves her metal. She loves her butt rock, and she's dancing and doing all that stuff to it. And then, she's cutting veggies while she's doing it. And amazingly, she doesn't cut her finger, because that's usually a big trope in these kind of movies. And then you discover that her husband, John, has been in the basement because he's got one of his many captive women down there that he abuses and treats like dogs, abuses in all the ways you'd expect, and then eventually murders. And they both together have been in cahoots on this, or at least she's tolerating it. That's kind of the way it's presented. Almost like a married couple where the woman knows that the guy has a mistress. Well, his mistress is being a serial killer. And you're like, what? This is kind of weird. So, and you're at the point in their relationship at the beginning of this movie where she's getting kind of fed up with it, and she wants more attention on herself, and she wants him to be able to give up his addiction, essentially. It's like she's saying, if you can just stop drinking, we could give this another go. And equally, he's having her stop smoking. That's her thing, right? She has to stop smoking. He has to stop capturing, treating like dogs, and abusing and murdering women in their basement. So I think it's a little uneven deal there, but apparently that's the deal they're coming to in this movie. Now that alone is a pretty outrageous and crazy, silly concept for a movie. Like I said, they're playing it pretty straight, disturbing. There's this first woman they find, and the way he's treating her, and the way she gets murdered, and there's just all this stuff, and it's like you're supposed to be like, oh, I can't handle this. This is terrible. And who are these people? But it just comes across as kind of silly. I know it's hard to say. Maybe I have a terrible sense of humor, but it's silly and sleazy, very, very exploitative as well. But not even, once again, not in the intentional campy exploitative. It seems like it's really trying to be exploitative in the disturbing realm. Now, move on to see that John in his daily life mows lawns apparently for a living. I'm not going to go through the whole plot, but I'm going to give you a couple ideas of how silly this movie is. Apparently he mows lawns. I mean, and it's not like he has you would think, well, okay, a landscaping service or something. You can see that being a career for somebody. They have their truck and maybe a couple people they pay, and they go around and they do landscaping for various homes and stuff. But it appears like he basically just mows lawns. And there's this one house he's mowing the lawn of in this movie. And he seems to keep going back and mowing it like every other day because it's a subplot that goes on through the whole movie. And there's this girl that lives there, and it's the classic trope, almost like a porn parody trope, where this 17-year-old girl gets in her like bikini or skimpy clothing and then lays out in the lawn to attract the attention of the burly lawnmower guy and try to seduce him. That's how it's played out. And of course, you know that he's like a killer and torturer type of dude, so you're worried that he's going to go after her. And the way that whole subplot plays out is amazing and hilarious and ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I would say the woman who plays the girl, I think, and I don't know, I wrote it down wrong. I think it's Mia. I think it was the Mia character. I could be wrong. Played by Rachel Boyd. But she just is, if anyone knows that she's playing a campy role, and she may know it, I think it was written exactly to be campy, but it sure comes across as super campy and just really way over the top. For example, when he first sees her and he's mowing the lawn, you think, oh, you can picture to yourself like, oh, he's way in the backyard and she's up by the house sunbathing or something. No, imagine like a little lawn in front of a small house, like maybe, I don't know, 20 yards by 20 yards square. And imagine a guy is mowing that lawn, and in the middle of that lawn, a woman decides to put down her little lounge chair and lay out there like in a bikini or whatever in the middle of the lawn that he's mowing as he's mowing it. That's kind of the setup. It's so ridiculous and it's so weird. And I just say the movie keeps getting weirder and weirder. There's people that come into it almost like a soap opera. People from the past of Charlie come in and reconnect with her from her past, and that plays out in really weird ways because there's always this kind of serial killer sub element to it. And it's just, I can't describe how silly this movie is and how much I thought it was terrible and how much I really enjoyed it. I could see this becoming a cult, terrible movie classic for some people. Is it everybody's cup of tea? Absolutely not. If you are into horror movies, you're going to be like, this is a terrible horror movie. If you're into terrible horror movies, you're going to be like, this is a great, terrible horror movie. And I always have given my little subcategory, because Eric has his 3-star banger, which is like a movie that does really well what it does. It stays in its lane super well, but it's not for everybody. Like the really good cheapo action movie is a 3-star banger, but to the average person might be like 2 stars. For me, I also have the 1-star banger, which is a movie that does what it's trying to do terribly, but it does it in a very entertainingly terrible way. It's like the whole idea of a good bad movie to some degree, in that it's sincerely and genuinely trying to make the type of movie it is, failing spectacularly and being more entertaining because of that failure. It's a rare bird. It's almost more rare than just a mediocre bad movie. Those are just everywhere. The 2-star movies for me are just like, ugh, it was so annoying, boring, terrible, not worth watching, not fun. 1-star movies are a little bit notable. It angered me to some degree. 1-star banger, which is what this movie is, 1-star banger, Sick Puppy, is one that's like, it's inept in so many ways, but I had absolute fun watching this movie. And it's weird because you could give me 10 mediocre movies and then Sick Puppy, and I might watch Sick Puppy again because it's so dumb and so funny in how it's dumb. And it makes me question myself the whole time through. Is it doing this on purpose? Is this trying to be a comedy? And then it could be genius. Could it go from a 1-star banger to a 4-star movie or something? I don't know. Because there's scenes in this I want to go out back and watch again now because there's a scene. Oh yeah, there's a subplot. I'm trying to keep spoilers out, but there's some subplots. There's a subplot. So when you stop smoking or something, the stereotype is, well, I got to keep myself occupied, so I got to eat carrots or something, right? That kind of thing. Well, so basically both these two, quote, sick puppies, this couple, are quitting their bad habits. She's quitting smoking and he's quitting killing. Well, he takes up pottery. And I almost expected a ghost parody to occur in here, but it doesn't. But there's this whole subplot of him taking up pottery and the places that pottery subplot goes because he's trying not to kill people is so funny. It's so funny what happens. And it gets involved with the girl that's trying to seduce him in the lawn. That has a pottery subplot as well. It's so... I guess I'm recommending this to people. I would say if you are like myself and you can really get your teeth into a terrible movie, I would recommend that you watch Sick Puppy. Because to me, it's a 1-star banger. I guess is that my movie of the week? It might be. Sick Puppy might be my movie of the week. Even though I respect so many things about Saccharine and it's so much on every level a better movie, Sick Puppy might have been more fun to watch. I don't know. It's a hard thing. Okay. Well, that's what I got for you this week. Those 2 movies and 1 series and then 1 extra review, which should be coming around now. But because I recorded it separately, who knows where Greg will actually put it. He might leave it as a separate entity. And once again, I'll apologize for the sound quality. It's not going to be as good as this because we recorded it outside with a lot of outside sounds and not as good of a recording mic or any of that stuff. But I think it's still totally listenable unless you're just a absolute audio, I don't know, purist of some sort. I know some people are that way. It has to be the best audio quality or I won't listen. And I'm the kind of quality. I'll watch a DVD still. How can you watch a DVD? The picture quality is so terrible. 4K, you must have 4K. You know what? I spent my youth watching TV versions of B movies, black and white, 7-inch screen in my room, trying to pick it up off of a antenna. So I think to me, something like VHS was a huge step up. So I can handle a DVD. I can still watch a DVD and just totally enjoy it. It's not that big of a difference to me. Sure, is a really high clarity Blu-ray or 4K awesome? Sure it is. But I'll still watch the other movie on DVD. I have no problem doing that. And the same thing with audio. If I can hear it, it's good. I mean, it's a punk rock that's recorded on 2 mics in a basement somewhere, and I love it more than some huge studio production that's overproduced. So I kind of like that rawness. All this is to say, you should enjoy the rawness of this on the street review that is given and not complain about it. If you don't like the audio, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, that is all for this week, almost, except for whatever's coming up next. And as usual, what did I say? What comes after? Ice. Yes, you got it. Ice. I said it 3 times there. So he's going to bleep all those or he's not going to bleep all those. See how his AI is working. It might just be a big blank spot there. Talk to y'all later. I think next week we might have our Patreon coming up. I think. I don't remember for sure, but I think it might be. All right, guys. Later.
Hey, everybody. I am out of the attic. Out of the Cinem-Attic. I am currently in the wilds of Athens, Alabama, in a patio at the, I was reading Old Black Bear Brewing Company, sitting here with a special guest. Why am I here with a special guest? Well, let the special guest introduce himself and tell you why he's here.
Hello, Joe Bridges, all the way from Ohio, visiting. I found a random Purkey on the side of the road.
It happens.
Yes.
It's like Bigfoot.
But yeah, just going on a road trip. Here I am.
Joseph Bridges, for all of you who don't know, who's listening to this who doesn't know who Joseph Bridges is? I can't imagine.
I would mostly, you'd probably have to be in the CinemAddicts group. I'm always posting nonsense in there. If there's something strange and I'm posting about it, and you're like, who's this weirdo? That's me.
He has seen, I would say he's probably the most prolific movie watcher in our group. And he's seen, if it's a weird movie that no one even knows exists, except for probably him, he's seen it.
The more obscure, the better.
Yep, for sure. And what are you doing? Making a road trip now?
I'm road tripping for baseball games, breweries, and random things.
and he found a random thing.
Yes.
A random thing. Okay. We decided, since we were to get together, I thought, well, let's add a little bonus material to the podcast this week and do a review together. And I challenged him to find a weird movie that neither of us had seen, and then we could review it together on here. And we both had never seen the movie called Scared Less. Now, that was probably bleeped out, so from now on I'm going to say Scared tless. It's from 2024, and it's directed by Viviano Caldinelli. It stars Stephen Ogg as Don. Stephen Ogg is someone you've probably seen in, I think he was in Walking Dead. I think he's been in a bunch of things. He plays heavies in a lot of movies. It's one of those character actors where you'd go, I've seen that guy before, but I don't know who he is.
Oh yeah, you've seen this face.
Yeah. He plays Don. He's the dad. He's a plumber, apparently a night plumber.
Yeah, or I think he's just always a plumber. Maybe it's a special job.
Like they had to get out there at night because
Maybe.
this older lady in this apartment building, it's kind of like my cat's stuck up in the tree, get out here and help it. Well, in this case, something's stuck in her toilet and you need to get the plumber out there at night to unclog it. And what does he do? He gets his son, Sonny, appropriately named.
Yeah, appropriately named, yes.
Played by Daniel Doheny. Can't say it right. Sonny is a germaphobe.
Yeah, that there's you learn what happens later in the movie, but what brought on his phobia, and it's basically made him housebound. Seems like from what we started
Yes, it seems like that. And his dad is trying to get him to, I guess he's doing what? Exposure therapy, essentially.
with. Correct. And it's throwing him right into the poo, literally.
Right into the food. But he has given him these special, awesome plumbing gloves.
Yes. Yeah, very bizarre.
Look like gardening gloves to me. Yeah, I don't know how that works in a water environment. But
I think he may just be, it's psychosemantic. Here's this mystical thing that will protect you from germs.
Yeah.
That's because his son goes along with it. Oh, okay, cool.
yeah. So they both head out to this apartment complex. We didn't mention at the beginning of this movie, so two things. One, the opening scene is kind of a mad scientist sort of dude.
And he's escaping from a burning building with a mysterious animal.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taking it home to this same apartment building.
And in that apartment building, the animal escapes, attacks him, and slithers down into the plumbing of the building.
Sure.
So, and also another thing we didn't mention was the creature effects in this movie are done by the one and only Stephen Kostanski, who we all know and love from PJ Psycho Gorman, Frankie Frico, Deathstalker, The Editor.
Yep.
Which I think we both agree is...
Underseen gem of the Astron 6 collective.
Yes, I love The Editor. And I don't think I've been convinced either Carrick or Greg to watch it yet, but I love it. If you've seen even a small share of Giallo movies or Italian horror movies in general, the appreciation you're going to get of The Editor is quite vast because it's to me, it's the young Frankenstein of Giallo movies.
Yes, I love his wooden arm in that. It's hilarious.
It's a crazy movie. So anyway, Kostanski does the effects in here. So that should be, if you haven't been sold by now, then you're not into this type of movie. So they arrive, and then what happens? Straight craziness ensues.
Basically, yeah. So he drags his son on this job. He's a germaphobe. Hey, you just got to get out. You got to get out there and literally put your hands in poo. That's literally what you got to do.
Yep.
To get over it. But they show up at the lady's house, the lady who loved her dog, and then stuff around the apartment complex starts feeling crazy. The older couple who are rather kinky, and you see lots of old person flesh, very strange. But yeah, they're tenants of this weird place. You have the lady who's running the front desk.
Yep. She's our other main lead protagonist. What is her name? Patricia, yep, and she keeps begging them to be quiet and quit making noise and quit letting people know there's plumbing problems. And you find out why later. Yep. But then she ends up helping them along their journey. Becomes a partner in their battle.
Sidekick, yes.
The battle against the creatures. And like you would expect from a movie like this, very 80s style.
Correct.
Lots of creature effects, lots of blood, but it's all in good fun.
Yes. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that late 80s, early 90s Vestron titles like The Gate.
I like Slugs. I don't know if it's Vestron, but I love Slugs.
Probably was. All those practical effect.
Basket case.
Yeah, anything that's practical effects in a contained space.
Yeah.
Because there's not really a lot of effects, really. It's really just the worm monster.
And there's a few gory deaths.
Correct.
But even they're done mostly for humor.
Correct. Yeah. So, but I think that's why I like the effects so much, because they're simple, practical, but strange and goofy. Yeah.
Strange, goofy, fun. All of the characters are likable, which is also a thing you don't usually get in a movie like this. Usually someone's like a real bad guy, and I think we discussed that we think the only heavy is maybe the
mad scientist, but even he's just goofy and delusional. It's not that he's like a bad guy. He's just strange.
Yeah. So there's no one really to hate in this movie. Even the monster is that hateable. He's just doing his monster thing.
The monster just needs to feed.
Monsters not have to monster.
Yeah.
It's like Jaws, like a Bruce, the Shark and Jaws.
Yes.
Just got to do what they got to do. So yes, if you have not seen or heard of Scared Tless, and if you're going across the billion titles with some stupid-looking monster on the cover and a lurid title that's trying to get your attention, just another three-headed shark movie or whatever it is, this one definitely is one to check out, because I think it has a lot more love and care behind it and fun behind it. And it's only
75 minutes.
75 minutes.
It's straight and to the point. There's not a lot of fat, because they didn't need it. They're like, here's some weird people, here's some comedy, here's some special effects,
here's some Canadian rock and roll.
Oh yes, lots of obscure Canadian classic rock that gets commented on in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think it was probably shot, because if it's Astron 6, I think, aren't they from Toronto?
I think they're Canadian. Yeah.
I
know definitely when PG Psycho Gorman came out, they had a Happy Meal.
Oh yeah, at their local cafe.
At a local cafe, and you could go to the local cafe and you could get the PG Psycho Gorman Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Now I got the box and everything that came. You could buy.
Yes.
But I didn't get the meal, unfortunately. I'm sure it was quite.
It was at the cafe they eat in Psycho Gorman. Yeah.
So I think they're a Canadian property all the way around.
I think it's a suburb of Toronto. I think
it's a proudly Canadian property. So Mitch, we should definitely be watching this.
Yeah, it's probably in Mitch's back. This is probably Mitch's apartment complex. We just don't know.
It is.
Yes.
Probably. Mitch, did you make it? Did you survive the slug creature that was in the plumbing?
Yes. Are you scared of your toilet now? We don't know. Should you be?
And I got to give credit to who brought this to us. I think this came in a roundabout way through our CinemAddicts community. Jason Kleberg, I believe, had a guest on, I don't know, late last year maybe.
I think someone mentioned it, yep.
They mentioned this movie, and then Peter Abeyta picked up on that and watched it and reviewed it as one of their streaming picks on Middle Class Film Class. And then that's what kind of put it in our heads, and we watched it.
Yeah, and it recently dropped, I think, on pretty much every streaming service that I think it was like 6 or 8 services.
You search up the actual title, which is Scared Less, and see if that's going to make it through, Greg. It's on you, man. I said it very few times, so you shouldn't have much to edit out. You should be able to find it. Easy and freezy.
Yes. Yeah, lots of fries. I watched it on Tubi first.
Yeah, I think I watched it on Prime, but now I'm doubting myself. I don't remember where
I think it was on Prime as well. So.
Yeah, so it's all over the place. You can watch it. It's worth it. Like I said, less than an hour and a half. This should be right up your alley.
Yep, watch it.
What do we rate it?
I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. I put it on my underseen gems list. And if you do follow me on Letterboxd, you know I rate things very harshly. So 3.5. It's probably a 4 to 4.5 for most people.
Yeah,
I would think.
I'd probably go 4 right now, but it could go up. I would think it's really a 3-star banger in kind of our world. I think if you're recommending it to just everybody, some people are going to be not on board at all, but the people who are on board are going to be 100% on board. And I think Eric would be 100% on board. I think Greg would also enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
So highly recommend. Go check it out. Good recommendation to us to do this. I'm glad it wasn't a terrible movie. You said something that was terrible.
Yeah, and that would have been very disappointing if it had not been good.
I saw 75 minutes in Kostansky, and I knew it was going to at least be fun.
Yeah.
There's no way I wasn't going to at least enjoy it. So thanks, everybody. Once again, if you want to do this yourself, you want to come in here and do a personal review with me, it's very simple.
You just got to be in northern Alabama.
Yeah.
On a random day when Bruce is available.
Yeah. And you have to find me.
Oh, yeah. You have to break him out of the attic. You got to break him out for a few hours. Make sure Eric doesn't know he's gone.
Yeah, what did you use for a distraction technique?
Giraffes, very large giraffes. Yes.
I didn't know he had a giraffe thing.
It worked.
Giraffes and beer. Took it through beer and giraffes and said,
yes.
And he looked.
Yeah, and I was like, get out while you can.
It's like a dog being distracted by a squirrel.
Yes.
Giraffes and beer. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. And don't forget, guys.